What's up? It's Keith here, and I'm doing another Teen Wolf video. So, since we are, I think today, I'm going to date this video, today's the 20th, we are 10 days out from the Teen Wolf premiere. I'm going to do a list or a video each week leading up to the new premiere of Teen Wolf. So last week I did the announcing the first trailer, and then I've done the Comic-Con stuff that they announced at Comic-Con, and then I'm going to do another list here right before Teen Wolf comes out. And so I'm doing this one today, which, if you can tell by the title, is 10 characters most likely to die in the final episodes of Teen Wolf. So this is going to be similar to that list I did a while back of 10 characters that I think are going to return, in the sense that this list is mostly from personal preference of likelihood of dying, but also how much I think it would be a good idea and other things like that. So the order makes sense in some spots, but it's not like a hard set in stone thing. So these are 10 in which each of these has certain significance, and again, it's mostly about how I would like to see them die, or more so how much I think their death could impact storylines or have significance either in a personal storyline or in the greater whole. So let's get right into it. So number 10, I have Malia. So now Malia, in all honesty, of the main characters who are still on the show, and still on the show regularly, Malia is probably the most likely to die. I mean, and a lot of the speculation that Malia is going to die comes from when they saw that Dylan O'Brien and Tyler Hoechlin were filming, that they heard somebody scream Malia and then they heard gunshots, so a lot of people think Malia is going to die. I mean, that could work maybe. There could be some cool stuff where, like, Malia sacrifices herself to kill Styles, or maybe as another, to kind of like as a throwback or like an homage to Allison's death, because I guess Scott and Malia is a thing. But I honestly think that killing Malia is a bad idea. Mostly because you're going to bring back all these characters, and probably more likely than not, all these characters that you're bringing back are going to survive. They're going to make it through to the end, and you're going to let them live. Or you're going to let, specifically the one that would make me mad is Styles. He's, been, even though he's been a part of the seasons, he's not been a part too much. And you're going to let him live towards the end, but you're going to kill Malia when Shelley Henig's been one of the most consistent forces on Teen Wolf. Probably only second in terms of consistency from starting of the show to Tyler and Holland. Like, to do that would just do her dirty. And besides, if you're setting up Scott and Malia to be endgame, it kind of doesn't make any sense to set that up and then to have her die. You know what I mean? And like I said, also, Tyler and Shelley have been said to be two of the most committed and involved people on the cast, so it's like, if with rumors that, MTV's looking at the possibility of somehow continuing these stories, why would they get rid of her when she's like shown that, oh yeah, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you want for the story. So I have her number 10, simply, it's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen. Number 9, I have Kate. And that's mostly because there could be some justice done with her character, in the sense that I could see like her trying to reunite with Gerard, the man who taught her everything she knows, but then have Gerard kill her, because before she was a monster on the inside and now she's a monster on the outside. And that's kind of like, in some ways, justice, because, he's the reason she is the way she is, and then he kills her. Not that, like, he's going to kill her because he's being a good guy. I mean, he'll probably still be a piece of shit, but it works, and that it'd be a fitting end to her character, especially because she's been nothing but trouble on Teen Wolf. 8 and 7, I'm going to do at the same time, because they're both very similar in terms of my reasons why I'm picking them. So for 8 and 7, I have Ethan and Jackson. And so they're both returning characters, and I feel like both of them could, since there's not that much, there's not as much stakes with them, or like, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh my god, if we want to keep doing Teen Wolf, we have to keep these two characters alive. No, you can have freedom with them. And I think both of them have some cool symbolic significance to their deaths. I mean, with Ethan, if he dies, he can die as a member of Scott's pack. He can die, and finally be with his brother, and he can finally die one of the good guys, just like his brother. He can prove to himself that he's a good guy, and I think that definitely, could work. Whereas with Jackson, similar kind of thing. Jackson was always kind of an antagonist. I mean, he was the main villain of season 2, but like he was always, even in season 1, he was an antagonist. But he's not always a bad guy, but he's never really been a good guy. So have him kind of be a good guy, and then again, have him, maybe sacrifice himself to save Lydia. Repair their relationship, and then he can die a good guy in a very similar vein to Ethan. I think that those two, I feel like either one of those could work. I don't think you kill both of them. Maybe you do, but that could definitely work out. Number 6, I have Parrish. There was speculation. There's in the trailer that came out a little over a week ago that there's a man stumbling around, and a lot of people think it's Parrish. So, maybe he goes up against the other Hellhound, or he goes up against this creature that this Hellhound he's either working with or working against, and he loses his life. And I feel like that might be the best place to take Parrish as a character, because Parrish is another victim of this thing that Teen Wolf does with a lot of their characters that they've introduced after Allison's death, or they've introduced after the beginning of the show, where they give the character a storyline, and the build-up in their storyline is really good, but then once the storyline's done, they don't know what to do with the character. I mean, seasons 4 and 5 for Parrish were pretty good, and then he, at least in 6A, he was a non-factor, so maybe having him die could be the best thing to do, instead of having kind of trying to string his character along and force either a not-so-good storyline with him, bring him along. But then also, you could bring back the whole Parrish-Lydia connection, have maybe Lydia, have it affect Lydia a lot. They should definitely, all of these deaths should affect the main characters and make this situation more dire. So you're going to hear that a lot, that, this death affects this character, this death affects that character. Number 5, I have Argent. Because especially, like, again, if Kate dies, and if Gerard's a villain, then he'll probably die. And then let's say Chris dies at some point, then there's something poetic about that the Argent family has been wiped out. But maybe even more so that Chris is finally reunited with his wife and daughter. And I just think that could be cool for his character, And it could do some stuff. And it could do well for Melissa, because Melissa's losing somebody else. Kind of like she lost her husband, but she's losing somebody else, which could be cool. But then number 4, on the flip side, I have Melissa, because that would raise the stakes for Scott, give him a little bit more suffering to go for in these final episodes, and it would hurt Chris, because in some ways, especially if Gerard's somehow involved, because this would be the 3rd woman who's important to him that he's lost over the course of the series, and that could be cool. So that could affect them both, and then maybe that could lead to Chris finally deciding to hell with it and taking out Kate and Gerard. Who knows? I think it could be cool going down that route. So that was number 4. 3 and 2 are two that are very similar, and they go in the same boat. So I'm gonna have to lump them together, and that's Peter and Theo. So both of them, redemption arc, you know what I mean? They're both kind of going through a redemption arc, so have them sacrifice themselves to save somebody. For both of them, honestly, for both of them, the answer for who to sacrifice to is Scott or Malia. Maybe Stiles in the case of Theo, because Theo did wrong Stiles as much as he did everybody else, but that could work out very well. For Theo, he could die as a member of the pack, possibly. And Peter, he can finally get acceptance from his daughter, maybe, with his death. I feel like it's more if they probably only do it with one of them, and Theo's probably more likely because Cody Christian finished filming earlier than a lot of other actors did for the show. I think he finished a week or 2 before Tyler, Shelley, and Holland did. So, so at least looking at what we know, he's probably more likely. But either of them could be good, especially because with Peter, he went from being a villain to being a necessary evil to being a villain again, to in some ways trying to redeem himself last season, or in the last 10 episodes. So that could be interesting. And then number 1, I'm probably going to catch some hate for this one. I have Stiles. Mostly because, again, with the talks of, we're going to do Teen Wolf, and we're going to bring it back. We're going to possibly bring Teen Wolf back. But then it's Dylan O'Brien's already been super busy and been, not involved with season 6, honestly, all that much. So it's why not? Why not kill him? And thematically, I mean, and narratively, it could work very, very well because you can do a couple different things. So again, with that rumor that it was that they heard gunshots and Styles shouting Malia, maybe Styles throws himself in front of Malia, and that can kind of give Malia closure on her relationship with Styles. I think that could, again, that could be very, very good. That he, that even though he's with Lydia, which I know, like that scene would make a lot of people mad. It would prove that, hey, he still cares about Malia. He sacrifices himself to save Malia. And I think that could work. But then on the flip side, with Scott specifically, that it would be very similar to what happened with Allison. Now he's lost arguably the two most important people in his life, and in a lot of ways, at least from the cues that we saw in the 3B finale, Scott broke down for a while after Allison died, and I feel like that would happen here if Styles died. Probably even be more. It would hurt more if Styles died. So. And then you can play it off so like Scott's broken, he's ready to give up, and then through whatever kind of plot device they want to use, he ends up in like the White Room with the Nemeton that was a big part of that they showed up in a lot in 3B. And so then he's sitting on the Nemeton, he's just kind of looking down, and then he idly hears voices telling him that he can't quit now. You get up, Scott. You got to finish the fight. And then he sees two hands outstretched to pull him up, and he looks up and he sees that it's Styles and Allison. Again, arguably the two most important people in his life, definitely two of the most important people over the events of the series. And he takes their hands and he pulls himself up, and maybe they have like a short conversation, but it gives him the strength to get back out and finish the fight. I think that would work, and I think that's the effective use of Styles' character. Again, because if for whatever reason Teen Wolf were to continue with like a movie, or if in podcast form like they're talking about, or if they reboot the series, I mean, you're not going to get Dylan O'Brien. Like that's the truth of it. You're not going to get Dylan O'Brien for that, like more likely than not. So why not, instead of trying to keep him alive for the very slight hope that you can use him again, why not use his character effectively and use it to push the final stretch of the plot forward. And I just think that would work very, very well. So these are 10 characters that I think could possibly die in the final 10 episodes of Teen Wolf. Let me know who you think could die in these final episodes, in the comment section. Again, go subscribe to my main channel, Plugged On. There I will have reviews of the premiere and the series finale, and then on this channel I'll have a review of just about every other episode. So thanks for watching. Again, go over there, Plugged On, subscribe to that, like videos, subscribe, like to hear if you like this stuff, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.